Dad! The pancakes flipped too early. It folded in half before landing back in the pan. Caleb burst into laughter. You missed. Ethan looked down at the pan. I meant to do that. Caleb crossed his arms. No, you didn't. Ethan laughed. I definitely didn't. His wife leaned against the kitchen doorway with a cup of coffee. You've got 5 minutes before the bus gets here. I know. She smiled. No, you don't. Caleb grabbed the spatula. My turn. Ethan handed it over without arguing. The pancake landed perfectly. Caleb threw both hands in the air. I'm better than you. Yeah, I noticed. His phone vibrated across the counter. Lewis. He looked at the screen. Didn't touch it. Caleb looked up. You gonna answer it? Ethan slid the phone face down. Not yet. Good. The phone buzzed again. Ethan's smile faded. His wife noticed. You should probably get that. He looked at Caleb, then picked up the phone. Lewis, I think I found where the water's getting in. Lewis held his phone beneath the opening in the ceiling. The flashlight caught a dark water trail running behind the drywall. Ethan leaned closer. That's coming from the roof? It's where I'd put my money. How do we know? We trace it. Lewis lowered the phone. Water doesn't always come down where it gets in. Could be 10 feet from here. Could be 30. Ethan looked towards Sarah. How many units have this? Confirmed. She thought about it. 7. Lewis shook his head. We've got 7 that made it on paper. Ethan caught the distinction. Meaning? Meaning somebody painted over one, stopped reporting theirs, and or moved out. Lewis looked toward the ceiling. And somebody hasn't noticed yet. Ethan straightened. Then let's stop guessing. Lewis nodded. Roof? Lewis moved slowly across the surface, checking the seams as he went. He stopped near a section of flashing. Here. Ethan crouched beside him. Lewis pressed against the seam. It shifted beneath his hand. That's loose. How bad? Couldn't tell you. Lewis stood. That's the question you pay somebody smarter than me to answer. He looked across the roof. This needs a roofer. Call one. Already did. Ethan glanced at him. When? While you were making pancakes. Ethan looked up. Lewis fought a grin. You answered the phone with a smoke detector going off. The pancakes were fine. Of course they were. Sarah laughed. Ethan shook his head. What time is he coming? Lewis checked his phone. He's already on his way. Ethan stood and took in the roof. Patches broke up the surface. Sealant ran along old seams. Several repairs were newer than the material surrounding them. He pulled out his phone. Let me see something. His inspection report opened. He searched until he found the section roof. His eyes narrowed. What? Sarah stepped closer. Ethan read it aloud. Roof observed from ground level. Limited visibility due to building height. He stopped, read it again. Sarah looked across the roof. They never came up here? Apparently not. Ethan stared at the report. I paid for an inspection. Lewis nodded. You got one. Ethan looked at him. Just not the one you thought you were gonna get. Ethan locked his phone. I should have had the roof checked separately. Neither Sarah nor Lewis answered. Ethan looked across the patched roof. His first building, signature on the closing document, his money, his mistake. A truck turned in Grand Avenue below. Lewis looked over the edge. That's him. Ethan headed toward the ladder. Perfect. Lewis followed. Just remember. Ethan stopped. Lewis pointed toward the roof. You asked how bad it is. He glanced down at the roofer getting out of the truck. You're about to get an answer. That's not what you said yesterday. Sarah stopped writing. The woman across from her pushed the notice back across the table. You said someone would call me. I said I'd make sure someone followed up. Nobody did. Sarah looked at the work order, apartment 314, bathroom ceiling. Reported 11 days ago. Assigned. No completion date. She picked up the phone. The resident leaned back. Here we go. Sarah paused. What? You're going to call maintenance. Maintenance is going to say they're busy. Then you're going to tell me somebody will get to it. Sarah put the phone down. What would you like me to do? The question caught her off guard. I just told you. No, you told me what you think I'm going to do. Sarah slid the notice aside. I'm asking what you need. The woman stared at her. I need my bathroom fixed. Okay. I need somebody to stop acting like I'm bothering them every time I ask about it. Sarah nodded. Okay. The woman folded her arms. You keep saying okay because both of those are reasonable. That softens something barely. Sarah pulled the work order closer. Tell me what happened. I called. When? Last Monday. Sarah checked that date. That's not when this was entered. I called before that. Sarah looked up. How long before? 3 weeks. Sarah searched the system. Nothing. She changed the date range. Still nothing. Who did you speak with? I don't know. Man, woman, a man. Sarah turned towards Ashley. Who was covering the phones 3 weeks ago? Ashley thought for a moment. Maintenance was forwarding after 5. The resident immediately pointed at Sarah. See? Sarah kept her eyes on the screen. Keep going. Ashley came around the counter. If she called after 5, it would have gone to the emergency line. Sarah found the log. There it was, apartment 314, bathroom ceiling discoloration, no active leak, monitor. Sarah read the entry twice. The resident watched her. I told him the paint was bubbling. Sarah clicked into the note. You did. I told him it was getting bigger. You did. So why wasn't anybody sent? Sarah didn't answer. The system already had. She turned the monitor toward Ashley. Where does this go after calls? Ashley leaned closer. It doesn't. Sarah looked at her. What do you mean? If it's not marked emergency, it stays in the call log. It doesn't create a work order. No? Sarah looked back at the resident. 3 weeks of frustration had just been sitting in a database nobody checked. The woman gave a small nod toward the screen. Found it. Sarah nodded. Yeah. So now what? Sarah reached for the phone. Now I stopped telling you someone would call. She dialed. Hi, I need someone in 314 today. The resident watched her. Sarah listened. No, today. Then move mine. She hung up. The woman frowned. Move yours. I had a walkthrough at 2. Sarah handed the notice back to her. You've already been waiting 3 weeks. The woman stood. She made it halfway to the door before turning around. Sarah? Yeah. I wasn't trying to come in here being difficult. Sarah nodded. You came in here because your bathroom isn't fixed. The woman held her gaze for a second. Exactly. The door closed behind her. Ashley was still staring at the call log. How many of these do we think are sitting in there? Sarah pulled her chair closer. Let's find out. Hold on. Daniel reached across the table and pulled Michael's report back toward him. You actually gave this to Tom? Michael kept his hand on the other end. Yeah. Daniel looked at the first page again. Why? 2 coworkers at the end of the table stopped talking. Michael released the paper. You read it? I'm reading it. Then finish it. Daniel glanced up. There was enough edge in Michael's voice to change the room. He went back to the page. Tom hadn't arrived yet. Daniel flipped to the second sheet. Recurring operational failures should be investigated as outputs before they're assigned to individuals. He looked at Michael. What does that even mean? It means if 5 different people keep failing at the same thing, eventually you should stop blaming the fifth person. One of the coworkers leaned back. Daniel smiled. So nobody's responsible for anything? I didn't say that. Sounds like it. Michael reached across the table and turned the report back toward himself. You've got 3 departments missing the same handoff. He pointed to the numbers. Different managers, different employees, 18 months. Daniel shrugged. People get lazy. All of them. Some. Michael nodded. Which ones? Daniel opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Michael waited. Daniel tapped the report. You're making this more complicated than it is. No. Michael slid the paper toward him. I'm asking you to prove what you just said. The room went quiet. Daniel's smile disappeared. The conference room door opened. Tom walked in carrying his yellow legal pad. He took 2 steps before noticing everyone looking in the same direction. What I miss? Daniel leaned back. Michael fixed the company. A few people laughed. Michael did too. Tom looked at him. Already? Apparently. Good. Save me a meeting. The tension broke. Tom dropped the legal pad onto the table. What's the argument? Daniel pointed toward Michael's report. He thinks our process is causing people to fail. Tom pulled out a chair. What do you think? I think people are responsible for doing their jobs. Michael nodded. So do I. Daniel frowned. Then what are we arguing about? Whether we're giving them a system that makes doing it correctly more likely? Tom's eyes moved to Michael. Michael continued. If the handoff depends on somebody remembering to send an email, remembering who needs it, remembering when they need it, then checking later to make sure somebody else remembered their part, he tapped the report. We didn't build a process. We built a memory test. Someone at the end of the table laughed. Daniel didn't. Tom picked up the report. What's your fix? Michael leaned forward. The handoff shouldn't depend on who remembers. Tom waited. Michael turned to the 3rd page. One trigger, he pointed. Order changes status. The next department gets it automatically. Nobody gets to close their part until the receiving department confirms it. Tom studied the page. Can our systems do this? A woman across the table answered. Probably. Tom looked at her. Probably. I'd have to check. Michael smiled. Tom caught it. What? Michael shook his head. Nothing. Daniel looked over. No, say it. Michael hesitated. The old instinct was still there. Keep the thought. Let the moment pass. He looked at Daniel, then Tom. If we're about to change the process, probably is exactly how we end up back in this room. The woman across the table laughed. Okay, fair. Tom pointed toward her. Find out. I will. Today. She nodded. Tom looked back at Michael's report. Daniel reached for his coffee. So, what happens if the process works and somebody still screws it up? Michael didn't need time. Then we know where to look. Daniel stopped. Michael held his gaze. At the person. I'm telling you, I tried. Sarah shifted the phone from her other ear. Karen continued. He wants the staff to have his number. Maintenance, leasing, everybody. Sarah leaned against the counter. And the residents? Them too. Sarah pulled the phone away and looked at it, then put it back to her ear. Every resident? Every resident. Direct access to Ethan. That was the instruction. Sarah glanced toward the printer. A stack of newsletters set in the output tray. When are these going out? This afternoon. Sarah walked over, picked one up. A section near the bottom caught her attention. Questions, concerns, contact ownership directly. Ethan's information sat underneath. Karen sighed through the phone. I told him opening ownership directly to every resident was a bad idea. What'd he say? He wants to know what's happening before somebody decides he shouldn't know. Sarah understood that instinct. After the work orders, she couldn't exactly blame him. Ashley answered the other line. Grand Avenue Apartments. Sarah kept reading the newsletter. Karen continued. He's already running on fumes. Give 200 plus people direct access to him and he'll never sleep again, Sarah smiled. Sounds like you're worried about him. I'm worried about the property. Same thing right now, isn't it? Karen went quiet. Across the office, Ashley grabbed a pen. Okay, is it overflowing? Sarah's attention shifted. Ashley listened. Just a little. Just a little water. Okay, put a towel around the bottom and keep an eye on it. Sarah stopped reading. Apartment 314 flashed through her mind. 3 weeks. One phone call. Monitor, nothing after it. Karen was still talking. I'll let Ethan learn. Sometimes ownership has to hurt before people stop trying to carry everything themselves. Sarah barely heard her. Ashley continued. If it gets worse, call us back. Sarah looked toward her. The words were already there. Say something. She didn't. Ashley reached for the receiver. Okay, have a good... Wait. Ashley froze. Sarah froze too. Karen stopped talking. Sarah lowered the phone slightly. Ask which apartment. Ashley looked confused. What? The apartment number. Ashley brought the phone back. Ma'am, before you go, what unit are you in? She wrote it down. 246. Sarah walked over. Ask how long it's been happening. Ashley did. Her expression changed. Since yesterday morning. Sarah held out her hand. Ashley gave her the note. Tell her we'll get somebody there. Ashley covered the receiver. It's not an emergency. I know. Maintenance is already backed up. Sarah looked at the number again. 246. That's what happened with 314. Ashley didn't answer. Sarah took the receiver. Hi, this is Sarah. She listened. No, you didn't do anything wrong. Her eyes stayed on Ashley. We're going to get someone over there. She handed the phone back. Ashley finished the call. For a second, neither woman spoke. Sarah lifted her cell phone again. You still there? Karen answered. Every word. Sarah closed her eyes. Great. Karen's voice changed. What happened with 314? Sarah pulled up the call log. The resident called 3 weeks before the work order was created. 3 weeks. The call was marked non-emergency. Sarah clicked through the record. It stayed in the log. Karen was quiet. Sarah continued. No work order, no follow-up, nothing told anybody to look at it again. And 246 almost happened again. Ashley looked down at her desk. Sarah noticed. She softened her voice. Ashley didn't build this. Karen understood. No. She's doing what she's taught. Ashley looked up. Sarah turned slightly away. If we tell residents to call us, and the information can stop here, she looked back at Ethan's newsletters. Giving them his number doesn't fix that. Karen didn't respond. Sarah picked up the newsletter. He'll just become the next place everything piles up. Sarah wondered if she'd gone too far. Karen had been doing this longer. Ethan owned the property. Sarah had barely gotten her feet underneath her. She almost backed away from the thought. Instead, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Isn't it part of your job protecting him from that? Karen laughed once. Careful, Sarah smiled. I'm serious. I know. He's trying to protect his investment. Sarah looked at the stack waiting to be mailed. But if the answer is everybody goes straight to him, she hesitated. Who's protecting him? Karen didn't answer immediately. Sarah's stomach tightened. Maybe that wasn't her place. Pull the newsletter. Sarah looked at the stack. All of them? Every one. Ashley looked over. Sarah lowered the newsletter. What are you going to tell Ethan? Karen didn't hesitate. Nothing. Sarah frowned. Karen, you're going to tell him. Sarah straightened. Me? You found the problem. I've been here 5 minutes. Then this should be interesting. Sarah almost laughed. I'm serious. Karen's voice sharpened. Don't walk into his office telling him his idea is bad. Sarah listened. Show him what happened with 314. Show him what almost happened with 246. Then show him the newsletter. Sarah looked at all three sitting in front of her. The missed call, the new call, Ethan's solution. What if he doesn't agree? Karen answered immediately. Then he doesn't agree. Sarah said nothing. You don't need permission to be right, Sarah. The line went quiet. Sarah looked toward the newsletter again, then back at apartment 246 glowing on the screen. Karen spoke once more. Go talk to your owner. The call ended. Sarah slowly lowered the phone. Ashley watched her. You okay? Sarah grabbed the 314 report, then 246. She laid Ethan's newsletter on top. I guess we're about to find out. I know what I said. Ethan held the phone against his ear while staring at the contractor estimates. His wife's voice came through clearly. You said buying this place was supposed to give you more control over your time. It will. When? Ethan leaned back. I just got the building. I know. There's stuff here nobody told me about. I know that too. He rubbed his eyes. I can't ignore it. I'm not asking you to. Her voice softened. I'm asking if becoming the person everybody calls everything for everything is actually going to fix it. Ethan didn't answer. You missed dinner twice this week. I was there last night. Yes, and Caleb noticed. Ethan looked toward the corner of his desk. A folded piece of construction paper set beneath his keys. Caleb had drawn 3 people standing beside a house. Ethan picked it up. His wife continued. I'm not fighting the property, Ethan. I know. But you bought Grand Avenue because you wanted to build something that gave you more time with us. Don't build yourself another job and call it freedom. A knock came from the door. Sarah stood there holding a folder. Ethan raised a finger. Are you coming home tonight? Ethan looked at the inspection report. Then Caleb's drawing. Yeah, what time? Ethan almost answered, but stopped. I don't know yet. Okay, no anger. That somehow made it worse. I'll call you. I love you. Love you too. He ended the call. Sarah remained at the doorway. Ethan put Caleb's drawing back beneath his keys. Sorry. No problem. What have you got? Sarah stepped inside and laid the paper on his desk. Apartment 314. Ethan picked it up. Bathroom ceiling? Resident called 3 weeks before this work order existed. Ethan looked up. 3 weeks? Sarah placed the second page beside it. The original call was logged. No active leak. Non-emergency. She tapped the screen on his desk. That's where it stopped. Ethan read the notes. Nobody followed up? No. Why? It doesn't create a work order. Ethan leaned back. What doesn't? The call. Sarah pulled the chair across from him closer. If somebody reports something after hours and it doesn't qualify as an emergency, it gets documented in the call log. Okay, but that's it. Ethan frowned. That's not it. It is. No, I mean, that can't be the process. Sarah nodded. That's what I thought. She handed him the third page. Apartment 246 called today. Ethan read it. Water around the toilet. Small amount. Maintenance going? Yes. When? Today. He looked at her. Then what's the problem? Sarah opened her mouth, then stopped. This was the part she'd been rehearsing in her head. She abandoned the rehearsal. The problem is they almost weren't. Ethan waited. Sarah leaned forward. The resident said it wasn't overflowing. She pointed toward the report. So it was about so it was about to get logged the same way 314 was. Who caught it? I did. Good. No. Ethan looked at her. Sarah caught herself. Sorry. No. Go ahead. She took a breath. Me catching it isn't good. But why? Because what happens tomorrow when I don't hear a call? Ethan said nothing. What happens when Ashley's at lunch? Sarah was moving now. What happens when maintenance changes shifts? Somebody's sick. Somebody forgets. She pulled the papers together. We're depending on people to remember what the system doesn't require. Ethan glanced at the reports. Sarah kept going. We need every resident contact. We need every resident's contact documented in one place. Maintenance issue, complaint, questions, whatever it is. She reached across the desk and moved the contractor estimate aside. We categorize it when it comes in. She grabbed a pen. Emergency goes immediately. She wrote. Maintenance becomes a work order. The resident issue gets assigned. Nothing disappears because somebody decided it wasn't important enough yet. Ethan watched her drawing boxes across the back of his inspection report. And whoever receives it owns it until somebody else accepts it. Sarah drew an arrow. Then you can see what's open without everybody calling you. She stopped, looked at what she'd done. Then at Ethan's desk. Oh, Ethan looked around. What? Sarah slowly put the pen down. I just wrote all over your inspection report. Ethan looked at the page, then at her. Yeah, I didn't know you owned the place. Sarah froze. Ethan held it for a half a second, then chuckled. I'm kidding, Sarah exhaled. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over. It's fine. It's just when I get going, you go. Pretty much. Ethan nodded toward the paper. Apparently, Sarah smiled. Okay. She picked the pen right back up. So this part, Ethan laughed. You weren't finished? Not even close. All right, Sarah turned the paper toward him. The residents should never need your number. Ethan's smile faded. That's where you're going with this? Yes. I specifically asked Karen to give it to them. I know. Ethan leaned back. Why shouldn't they be able to reach me? They should be able to reach ownership. Sarah pointed toward the flow she'd drawn. They shouldn't have to. Ethan studied. Sarah continued. If the only way you can trust what's happening here is for everybody to bypass us, she stopped. The next sentence came out before she could soften it. Then why are we here? Silence. Sarah's eyes widened slightly. That came out wrong. Ethan almost smiled. Did it? A little. I understand it. Sarah nodded. Okay, she pushed forward. You hired people to operate the property. Correct. Then make us responsible for operating it. Ethan looked down at the papers. Sarah tapped 314. This shouldn't reach somebody. Then 246. This almost didn't. She pulled the newsletter from beneath the report. And this, Ethan recognized it, turns you into the backup plan for every failure underneath you. He picked it up. You talked to Karen? She called me. And she hates this idea? She definitely doesn't love it. Ethan smiled. She tell you I wouldn't listen? Sarah hesitated. She was diplomatic. That's a yes. Sarah laughed. Ethan looked at the newsletter again. You think I should pull these? They're already pulled. Ethan slowly looked up. Sarah's face changed. There it was. She'd done it again. Karen told me to. Very specifically. Ethan nodded. Good save. Sarah laughed. I'm working on it. He set the newsletter down. What do you need? Sarah didn't expect the question. From you? You're telling me the system doesn't work. He pointed toward the papers. What do you need to make it work? Sarah looked at the diagram she'd drawn, then at Ethan. Her hesitation disappeared. Access. To what? Everything. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Sarah immediately corrected herself. Operationally. That sounds expensive. It might be. Of course it might be. Sarah smiled, then got serious. I need to see where information enters, where it goes, who owns it, and where it can die. Ethan looked at the report again. The call with his wife was still sitting somewhere behind his eyes. Everyone reporting directly to him had felt control. Now it looked like something else. Ethan slid the paper back towards Sarah. Find the holes. Sarah took them. And then come back and tell me how you'd close them. She stood, reached the doorway. Sarah. Ethan held up the newsletter. Next time you cancel something with my phone number on it, Sarah braced herself. At least let me know before Karen does. Sarah smiled. Deal. She disappeared down the hall. Ethan looked at Caleb's drawing, then at the newsletter. He picked up his phone, opened the contact Karen had prepared for the resident mailing. His thumb hovered over the screen. Then he deleted it. You always do that. Michael stopped with the carton halfway in the refrigerator. Do what? His sister reached past him and grabbed the orange juice. Let people answer for you. Michael closed the refrigerator. I answered. No, you didn't. She poured herself a glass. You start answering. Mom interrupted. Then you just let her decide what you meant. Michael looked toward the dining room. His mother's voice carried from somewhere down the hall. He lowered his voice. She already had her mind made up. His sister laughed. That's never stopped her before. Exactly. She took his drink. Michael shook his head. I'm not arguing with Mom over a birthday dinner. Nobody said argue. She leaned against the counter. Just finish the sentence. Michael looked at her. She caught something in his face. What? Nothing. No, what? Michael opened the refrigerator again. She pushed it closed. Michael, he laughed. Would you stop? Not until you tell me why you're looking at me like that. Michael leaned against the counter. Somebody said almost the same thing at work. Who? My boss. What'd he say? Michael thought about it. That I keep stopping right before people can actually see what I know. His sister stared at him. Well? Michael immediately pointed at her. Don't. She laughed. I didn't say anything. You were about to. I was about to agree with your boss. That's saying something. Fine. She started toward the doorway, then stopped. You know what's crazy? Michael already knew better. What? All these years I thought you were quiet. She looked him dead in the eyes. Turns out you've just been buffering. Michael grabbed the dish towel. She took off laughing before he threw it. Oh, now you're quick. The towel sailed past her into the hallway. Michael laughed. Get out. I'm going. She disappeared around the corner. Take all the time you need with that sentence. Michael couldn't help it. He laughed. His mother called from the other room. Michael! His sister looked back at him. There you go. Michael sighed. What? Finished the sentence. She disappeared around the corner. Michael stood there. Mom? What? He walked toward the dining room. I actually wasn't finished. His sister slowly leaned back around the corner. Michael saw her. She gave him a tiny thumbs up. He fought a smile. His mother's voice came from the other room. Okay. What were you saying? The invitation was there. He walked into the room. 32. Ashley looked up. Sarah was standing beside her desk with a legal pad. What? 32 calls. Ashley stopped typing. Since when? Last month. Sarah turned the pad around. 32 calls, 32 resident calls marked non-emergency that never became anything else. Ashley stared at the number. That doesn't mean 32 things were missed. I know. Sarah pulled over a chair. Help me figure out how many were. Ashley hesitated. Sarah noticed. What? Nothing. Ashley. Ashley leaned back. You've been here, what, a week? Sarah laughed. I'm serious. So am I. You've changed how we answer maintenance calls. You're pulling old records. Karen has us holding newsletters Ethan already approved. After you called. Sarah couldn't argue that. I'm just saying, people have been doing this job longer than you've been here. You're right. That wasn't the answer Ashley expected. Sarah slid the legal pad between them. So show me what I'm missing. I'm not trying to fight you with this. I know, because that's what this feels like. Then don't fight me. Sarah tapped the number. Fight this. Ashley looked down. Apartment 107, loose cabinet hinge. Ashley shrugged. That's nothing. Agreed. Sarah drew a line through it. Ashley looked surprised. What? You thought I was going to send Lewis over there? A little. Sarah smiled. I'm annoying. I'm not insane. Ashley laughed despite herself. Sarah opened the next one. Apartment 402, bedroom outlet stopped working. Ashley leaned closer. Okay, that should have gone. Sarah circled it. Why? Could be an outlet. Could be the breaker. Or nothing. Or something. Exactly. The next one. Apartment 119, refrigerator making noise. Ashley shook her head. Depends on what kind. Sarah looked at her. What kind matters? Absolutely. Ashley pulled the keyboard toward her. If it's humming louder, maybe nothing. Clicking repeatedly? That's different. Sarah handed her the mouse. You're driving. Ashley opened the call. Residents said it was clicking and food didn't feel as cold. Sarah stared at her. Ashley stared back. Yeah? That's not nothing. No. Sarah circled it. Apartment 208. Bedroom door won't latch. Ashley read it. Sarah circled it. Apartment 331. Neighbor's music. Resident issue. Not maintenance. Still needs follow-up. Yes. Sarah wrote it beside the resident. Ashley reached for the legal pad. Give me that. Sarah handed it over. Ashley drew 3 columns. Maintenance, residence, monitor. Sarah watched what goes under monitor. Things that aren't actionable yet. Sarah pointed at the word. That's where 314 disappeared. Ashley stopped. She crossed it out. Sarah didn't say anything. Ashley thought for a moment. Then wrote, follow up. Sarah smiled. That's better. They kept going. 32 became 27. Then 19. Some were duplicates. Some had already been handled and documented somewhere else. Others hadn't. Ashley stopped at 1. Apartment 203. Sarah looked over. What is it? Ashley read quietly. Resident reported bedroom window difficult to open. When? 26 days ago. Sarah remembered the apartment. Marcus and Lily. She pulled the screen closer. Any follow-up? Ashley searched. Nothing. Sarah reached for the phone. Ashley stopped her. I got it. She dialed. Sarah sat back. Hi, this is Ashley from Grant Avenue. She listened. I'm calling about the bedroom window you reported. Ashley's expression changed. Okay. She grabbed a pen. Both windows. Sarah looked at her. Ashley kept writing. And they're completely stuck now? Sarah was already opening a work order. Ashley glanced over. They didn't need to discuss it. Okay. We're going to get somebody over there. She hung up. Sarah finished entering the request. Ashley looked at the legal pad. 8 circles remained. 8 things that had entered Grant Avenue and gone nowhere. Ashley leaned back. Damn. Sarah looked at the list. Yeah. Ashley was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled a fresh legal pad from the drawer. Sarah watched her. What are you doing? Ashley wrote 3 words across the top. Every call moves. She placed it beside the phone. Sarah read it, then looked at Ashley. Ashley shrugged. I'm not losing another one. The phone rang. Ashley picked it up. Grant Avenue Apartments. This is Ashley. How can I help you? You're kidding. Tom turned the monitor toward Michael. Michael leaned closer. No. That's been there the whole time. Apparently. Tom sat back. The woman from the meeting stood beside them with her laptop open. I checked everything you asked about. She pointed to the screen. Automatic handoff. Required acceptance. Escalation if nobody responds. It can do it all. Michael stared at the workflow. Daniel stepped around the edge of the desk. So why aren't we using it? She looked at him. Nobody turned it on. Daniel laughed. That's it? That's it. Tom looked at Michael. Michael was already reading through the settings. How long would it take? To turn it on? To make it work? She paused. That's a different question. Michael looked up. Good answer. Daniel pulled over a chair. Why? Michael pointed toward the screen. Because turning something on doesn't mean we designed it right. Daniel shook his head. Here we go. Michael smiled. You asked. I regret it. Tom laughed. Keep going, Michael. Michael enlarged the workflow. Who gets this? Purchasing, and if purchasing doesn't accept it, escalate it to the manager. When? 24 hours. Michael shook his head. Too long. Daniel folded his arm. Based on what? Michael looked at him. Our average delay starts inside the first 6. Daniel leaned toward the screen. Where do you get that? Page 4. Daniel grabbed Michael's report. He flipped through it. Stop. There it was. You read all this? Daniel kept looking at the page. Apparently not, Michael smiled. Daniel pointed at him. Don't. Michael laughed. The woman changed the escalation window. 6 hours? Michael thought. 4. Tom looked over. Why 4? Because 6 tells us when we're already becoming average. Michael pointed toward the numbers. 4 gives somebody time to do something about it. Tom thought for a second. Try it. The setting changed. Daniel leaned forward again. What happens when purchasing rejects it? The woman clicked through the options. It returns to whoever initiated the handoff. Michael shook his head. No. 3 faces turned toward him. He pointed at the screen. That's how you create ping pong. Daniel laughed. Ping pong? Department says it's wrong. Sends it back. Other department fixes something. Sends it forward. Nobody owns the delay because everybody touches it. Tom looked at the woman. Can we require a reason for rejection? She clicked. A menu opened. Yes. Daniel leaned in even closer. Look at that, Michael. He glanced at it. What? We're finally using all the thinking you've been hiding from us. Michael's smile faded slightly. Daniel caught it. The room changed. He hadn't meant it as an insult. Michael knew that it still landed pretty hard. Tom looked between them. Daniel broke the silence. Seriously, Mike. He tapped the report. If you had this 4 months ago, why didn't you say anything? Michael looked at the pages. There were several ways he could answer. None of them sounded good. I don't know. Daniel frowned. Come on. Michael looked at him. I thought I might be wrong. Daniel waited. Michael gave a small shrug. So I kept checking. For 4 months, I wanted to be sure. Daniel dropped the report on the desk. Mike, what? You found an 18-month pattern. Daniel pointed at the monitor. You found the feature where the delay starts. He leaned back. And your plan was what? Daniel answered for him. Take it to the grave? Tom laughed. Michael did too. I guess. Daniel shook his head. Man, you are exhausting. The woman laughed. Michael looked at the workflow. Again, I was wrong about a part of it. Daniel threw both hands up. Oh my God. Everyone laughed. I'm serious. That's the problem. Michael was laughing now. Daniel grabbed the report. You think the rest of us wait until we're right? Michael looked at him. Daniel slapped the report against his own chest. I've been confidently wrong since orientation. Tom nearly choked on coffee. Even Michael had to look away. He continued. That's how I got this far. That explains a lot. The room erupted. He slowly turned toward Michael. Michael knew exactly what he'd done. Daniel pointed at him. There he is. Michael laughed. Tom shook his head. Can we fix the company before you two become friends? Daniel sat down. Absolutely not. The woman turned back to the laptop. Can I turn it on now? Michael looked at Tom. Tom looked at Michael. Your call. Michael's expression changed. My call? You brought it here. Michael looked at the screen. 4 months of notes. 18 months of failures. One setting nobody had touched. He didn't need another week. Piloted. The woman nodded. One department? 2. Daniel looked over. Why 2? Michael smiled. Because I might be wrong. Daniel opened his mouth. Michael beat him to it. And this time, we'll find out. Turn it on. Hold it right there. Marcus froze with one hand against the window. Lewis adjusted the track. Now try it. Marcus pushed. The window slid halfway up. No way. Lewis looked over. What? We called this in today. Lewis went back to the track. Yeah. Marcus looked at Lily. What time did you call? After lunch. Marcus checked his phone. It was barely 4 o'clock. Lewis smiled. You complaining? Hell no. Marcus pushed the window the rest of the way. I'm confused. Lily laughed from the doorway. Don't ruin it. Lewis tightened the last screw. Marcus tried the window again. Up and down smoothly. He looked genuinely impressed. Man, I was ready to fight with this thing a whole nother 6 months. Lewis stopped. 6 months? Marcus shrugged. Probably. You've been dealing with this for 6 months? It wasn't that bad at first. Lily folded her arms. It was bad. It was annoying. You had to shoulder check it. Lewis laughed. Why didn't you put in a work order? Marcus gave him a look. We did. Lewis smiled. Lewis's smile disappeared. When? I don't know. Months ago, Lily answered. May. Lewis pulled out his phone. What apartment? Marcus stared at him. You know what apartment. Humor me. 203. Lewis searched. He changed the date. Found nothing. Who'd you talk to? Marcus shrugged. Some guy. Maintenance, I guess. Lily stepped closer. We called the office first. Lewis looked at her. They told us somebody would get back to us. And nobody did. You're standing here, aren't you? Lewis didn't laugh. Marcus caught it. I'm messing with you. I know. Lewis put the phone away. Why didn't you call again? Marcus shrugged. That answer wasn't enough. Lewis waited. Marcus looked toward the window. Because it's a window. Lily shook her head. That's not why. Marcus looked at her. We stopped calling about it. We stopped calling about little stuff. Why? Marcus answered. Because after a while, you feel stupid. Lewis frowned. For calling? For calling again. Marcus looked at him. You report something. Nothing happens. You call again. Now, you're the guy bothering the office about a window. Lily agreed. So you figure it out. Marcus pointed toward the frame. Or you don't. Lewis looked at the repaired window. What else? Marcus frowned. What else what? What else did you stop calling about? Marcus and Lily looked at each other. That look told Lewis enough. He grabbed his phone. Lily laughed. Oh, don't do that. Do what? Turn this into a whole thing. It might already be a whole thing. Marcus shook his head. See? This is why we don't tell you nothing. Lewis laughed. Too late now. He opened a fresh note. Come on. Marcus looked at Lily. She immediately pointed toward the hallway. Bathroom fan? Marcus stared at her. Really? You asked me. I'm reminding you. Not in front of him. Lewis typed. Bathroom fan? Marcus sighed. Lily was enjoying herself now. The outlet by the kitchen counter, that works, but it sparks. Marcus looked at her. It sparked once, Lily. No, twice. Lewis slowly lowered his phone. Anything in this apartment happened more than twice? Marcus pointed at her. See? Now we're getting personal. Keep going, Lily thought. The closet door in our bedroom keeps coming off the track, Lewis added. Lewis looked at Lily. What else? Marcus threw his hands up. Don't encourage her. Lily looked around the apartment, then snapped a finger. Oh. No. I haven't even said it. I know that. Oh. Lewis was already typing. What is it? Lily pointed toward the kitchen. The refrigerator. Marcus groaned. Lewis looked at him. What about it? It makes a noise. What kind of noise? Marcus attempted it. A horrible mechanical grinding sound came out of his mouth. Lewis stared at him. Lily burst out laughing. Marcus stopped. What? Lewis fought a smile. I'm trying to decide whether to fix the refrigerator or you. See? Marcus pointed toward him. This is exactly why I stopped calling. Lewis laughed. Then his expression settled. He looked. Window, bathroom fan, outlet. The list went on. 5 things. 1 apartment. Lewis looked at Marcus. Seriously? Marcus waited. Don't stop calling. The humor left Marcus's face. Lewis held the phone. If nobody answers, call again. And if it starts feeling like you're bothering us, Lewis slipped the phone back in his pocket. Bother us. Marcus looked toward the window. You got it. Lewis packed up his tools. Behind him, Marcus pushed the window up once more. It moved easily. Hey, Lewis. Appreciate you. That's what I'm here for. His phone buzzed. A new work order appeared. Apartment 246. Lewis looked at it, then back at Marcus. Apparently, that's what I'm here for too, Marcus laughed. Go save the world. Lewis picked up his bag. I'm starting with toilets. That's the good news. Ethan stared at the roofer. The roofer crouched beside an old patch and pressed 2 fingers against the edge. Ethan waited. And the bad news? This patch isn't your leak. Ethan looked at Lewis. Lewis stayed focused on the roof. So we still don't know where it's coming from. We know where it's getting inside. The roofer stood. We don't know where it's getting under the membrane. Ethan rubbed his forehead. How far can water travel? Far enough to make everybody blame the wrong spot? He walked toward the far end of the roof. Ethan and Lewis followed. The roofer stopped beside a drain. Leaves and debris were packed around the opening. He kicked some of it aside. Here's a problem. Number one. Ethan looked down. Clogged drain? Partially. That's causing all this. No, Ethan exhaled. Of course not. The roofer smiled. Welcome to roofing. Lewis laughed. Ethan looked at him. Don't encourage him. The roofer continued toward the flashing they'd found earlier. Your roof isn't one problem. He pointed toward an old section. That's been patched. That's been patched. Then further down, that too. Ethan counted. How many? From what I can see, the roofer scanned the surface. At least 9. Ethan stared across the roof. A repair solves something. He tapped once with his boot. A patch buys time. Ethan looked at Lewis. How long has this been happening? Lewis took a second. Before me, nobody ever recommended replacement? I'm sure somebody did. You sure? Lewis met his eye. I've seen owners spend $20,000 avoiding $10,000 problems. Ethan looked back at the roof. Why is that? Because $10,000 today hurts more than $20,000 spread across 5 years. Well, who told you that? The roofer pointed at Lewis. He's not wrong. Ethan paced a few steps. All right. What are my options? The roofer folded his arms. Cheap option? Give me all of them. We find the active entry point, clean the drainage, reseal the flashing, repair anything obviously compromised. How much? I'll price it. And then we watch. Ethan frowned. Watch it. When it rains. That's the cheap option? The cheapest responsible option. Ethan almost laughed. What's the expensive responsible option? Full evaluation. Core samples, moisture scan, find out exactly how much of this roof is wet underneath. And if it's bad, then we talk about replacement. Ethan looked across the building. How much is replacement? The roofer smiled. You sure you want that number before lunch? Give it to me. For a property this size, he gave Ethan the range. Ethan stared at him. Lewis looked away. Ethan laughed once. That's a car. The roofer shrugged. Depends on what you drive. That's a nice car. Then yes. Ethan walked toward the edge. The parking lot stretched below him. Hundreds of windows belonging to a building he'd been excited to call his. Now every square foot seemed capable of sending him an invoice. His phone rang. He checked the screen. Home. Hey. Caleb's voice exploded through the speaker. Dad. Ethan's face changed. What's up, man? Mom said you're coming home for dinner. Ethan glanced at the roofer. Lewis was talking quietly with him now. She did? Yeah, Ethan smiled. Your mom says a lot of things. I heard that. His wife's voice came from somewhere behind Caleb. Ethan laughed. We're making tacos. Tacos? Yep. What kind? The kind you eat, Dad. Ethan laughed harder. Smart kid. Are you coming? The question landed differently. Ethan looked at his watch, then at Lewis. Lewis caught his eye. Ethan covered the phone. You need me for anything else? Lewis looked toward the roofer. We can handle the inspection. Ethan hesitated. You sure? Lewis smiled. I know how to stand on a roof. The roofer raised a hand. I'll supervise. He uncovered the phone. What time are we eating? Caleb shouted from the receiver. Mom, what time are tacos? His wife's voice came back. 6:30, Caleb returned. 6:30. Ethan checked his watch again. I'll be there. Promise? Ethan stopped. The words didn't leave much room. Yeah, promise. Okay. Caleb immediately changed subjects. Can I have two? Two what? Tacos. You called me about taco permission? Mom said ask you. Ethan smiled. Tell your mother you have my full authorization. What does that mean? It means eat three. Caleb yelled away from the phone. Dad said three. His wife's voice fired back. Ethan! Lewis burst out laughing. Ethan started toward the access ladder. I gotta go, Caleb. Bye, Dad. Love you. Love you too. Lewis looked at him. Three tacos? Ethan reached the ladder. Ownership decision. Lewis laughed. The roofer called after him. Where do you want the estimate sent? Ethan stopped halfway through the hatch. Email it. Tonight? Ethan looked at his watch. No. He disappeared down the ladder. Tomorrow.